What's going on, Power Squad? Will Power here. And if you're watching this, you're a first-time home investor who was referred to me by your realtor because they got your best interest in mind. So let's get to it.
Me, I want what's coming to me.
Oh, well, what's coming to you?
The world, Chico. And everything in it.
How do you go from this tranquility to that violence?
I usually take the Ferrari.
Alright, taking the time to watch this video, what you're gonna get is how to save thousands of dollars managing the project yourself, and you will have the confidence to go on and tackle any cosmetic rehab flip that you want to take on. This video will become the blueprint to your rehab flipping success. I guarantee it. There's a specific niche that I consider myself to be the best at what I do, and that's in the first time home buyer market, entry-level investors. ARVs are in the 350s, under 400 for the most part. You're looking at an average of 1,500 square feet, a 3.2. So for the following, we're gonna use as a model a 3.2, 1,500 square feet, cosmetic rehab flip, no mechanicals are gonna be done, with a rehab budget of about $50,000. So a ballpark number that you want to use to calculate your rehab labor and materials is $25 a square foot. And that would include everything that we're going to go through right now. This is not HGTV flipping. There's a big misconception. Everybody thinks that the process is the same and they don't understand the budgets, the price points that those rehabs are at, the fact that they get done in a month, 2 months, and they got multiple crews. They think it's that way, and they have a real big reality check. I want to prepare you guys what to expect, especially dealing with subs, because a lot of investors, they can tell you how to find the property, sell, this, that, whatever, and they can tell you somewhat of how to deal with the contractors, with the subs. But unless you're running one of these businesses and you know how these people work and how to run these crews, then you can really talk. It's a whole different ballpark. I've been doing this for 10 years, and I listen to investors and how they talk about contractors, and you're gonna find a lot of value in this video. There's certain things you can do post-rehab to have your project run as smooth as possible and the most efficient it possibly can. Remember, this is construction, shit's always gonna happen. Let's start with your colors. What colors you're gonna paint the exterior and the interior, what color of tiles, flooring, all that. You wanna choose colors that are trending to the masses. And you're gonna ask yourself, okay, do I need to get an interior designer? No, an interior designer will cost you around $1,500. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret, 2 ways that'll save you on an interior designer. 1, my favorite and the best way to save an interior designer is to simply go to your recently renovated luxury apartments for rent. Schedule to walk the model, look at their common areas, take the tour, and pay attention to the colors, the finishes. These big managing companies, they spend money on interiors designers to know exactly what's in style, what's trending, what's popular, so they can rent their apartments. So let them spend the money on the interior designer. You just go and take the tour, pay attention, and that's what you want to use. Remember, we're in a specific niche here, specific market. The other option is a celebrity that's popular, like for example the Kardashians. If they recently renovated a home or something that got a lot of exposure and it's in the cover of magazines, pay attention. They're usually the trendsetters. So there are 2 ways you can save on interior designer. For the materials and finishes of the project, I highly recommend to take a day and go to Home Depot, Saturday or Sunday, preferably the Sunday is the slowest day, and just make a list. Remember, we're using a model of a 3-2. So go and see the toilets that you like, put down 2, the tile you like, the flooring, the doorknobs, faucets, lights, ceiling fans, all the stuff you're gonna need to build a house, they have it at Home Depot. So make that list, right? And use the Home Depot, use this list as your base, all the material and finish, especially the finish that you're gonna buy. Because most people now are buying in Amazon, Facebook Marketplace, etc. You wanna get Home Depot builder grade finishes. Use that as the base. So when you're shopping online, Amazon, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, whatever it is. Also keep in mind, sometimes buying stuff on Amazon, you feel you're getting something nicer at a better deal. Sometimes they take forever, they come damaged, they send the wrong thing, and that causes delays. For flooring, I suggest LVP. It's what everybody uses all throughout. There's only 3 areas that are gonna have tile in the project. It's gonna be your kitchen backsplash. You're gonna have your surrounding walls in the tub in the guest bathroom. And then in the master, you're gonna have the surrounding walls of the shower floor, and the floor of the bathroom. For the kitchen cabinets and vanities, I would definitely do my research on this. This can get very pricey very quick. You can get assembled cabinets, you can get disassembled cabinets. You gotta go pick it up, they have them shipped. I mean, there's so many options. So I would definitely start doing my research on the kitchen cabinets and the vanities as soon as you can. This is something that takes time. So you definitely, if you want to slow down your project, this is one of those priorities. Granted, you're going to be looking at about $35 a square foot for the most part, about $150 for undermount sink cutout and the actual sink included. But that's about the standard pricing out here in Atlanta. A kitchen cabinet fabricator will charge you anywhere from $150 to $250 for a 3D rendering of the kitchen and what it's gonna look like. And usually if you go with them, they'll deduct it, but that's money. Keep that in mind. Again, for the kitchen cabinets, you can use Home Depot as your base model to see how much a kitchen will cost you at Home Depot, and then, compare elsewhere. I do suggest that it's overlooked. Go check the IKEA kitchen selection and their vanity selection. For appliances, you got some numbers over at Home Depot. Most investors, I would say 99% of the investors I deal with, they all buy a package from BrandSmart. So microwave, stove, dishwasher. Some add a refrigerator, some don't. The fridge can be quite expensive. So this is the feedback I got. The investors that put the fridge in, they say it just helps the house sell quicker because it's more complete. Same with the washer and dryers. And the ones that don't, they're like, a lot of people like different fridges, this and that. So it leaves it up to them to put the fridge. So it's not common to not install a fridge. For your curb appeal, go and drive around neighborhoods and high-end neighborhoods in the day and at night. And pay attention to what pops, what catches your attention, what's popular, what you seem to see a lot of. So pay attention to the exterior colors, the accent door colors, mailboxes, house numbers, etc., the landscaping. In the Home Depot garden section, you got estimates there on some plants. Another spot that I found that is a little hidden gem is Walmart. Go check out their garden section. They got cheap, nice stuff. Another place you can go for like fancier stuff like trees or plants is on Facebook Marketplace. You can find some deals there too. So check out those two for your landscaping, Walmart and Facebook Marketplace. All right, here gets the fun part. You want to have an idea of what crews you're going to be using in the project. So you want to start building your network with at least 3 crews, guys, for each trade. 3 painters, 3 drywalls, 3 framers, 3 tile guys, etc. So how do you source these guys? How do you source the crews? Here are the 3 best ways to find your crews. The first one obviously referrals. As friends, families that have renovated their house, if they had a great experience with their contractor, get their information. I would suggest start getting into the Facebook groups of investors in your area, going to a networking event, because they can be somebody that you can reach out and ask for referrals on crews. The second method you want to use to try to find your crews or your contractors is by going to Home Depot, Sherwin-Williams. I recommend Monday through Friday between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. Just walk down the aisles and see what guys you see out there buying materials. You see somebody buying lumber, you know he's a framer or carpenter. You see him buying paint, you know they're a painter, they're Sherwin-Williams, so on. You get the drift. That's another way. My personal favorite to source a crew or contractor other than referral is by driving around your neighborhoods, or the neighborhood where you're going to get the rehab, or you have the rehab, or just driving around neighborhoods and looking for dumpsters in front of houses where they're doing construction and getting off and speaking to the crews. This way you get to see firsthand how they work, the quality of their work, and how clean they keep the job site. So that's one of my favorite ways of finding new crews and contractors. Once you have your list of your 3 crews ready to go, you're ready to go on and get that project. Or if you already got the project, you're ready to start. So remember, you always want to get 3 estimates. When in doubt, get 3 estimates and compare apples to apples. Very important you compare apple to apples, not just numbers, because one might be doing less for more, or one might be doing more for less. So always compare apples to apples. Once the project starts, you want to start getting familiar with each trade, how many guys and how long it takes to do. And that will start, giving you an idea moving forward. When you're doing projects, you already have an idea. When a guy tells you, it's going to take 10 days to do X job, you already know that, from experience, that takes really 2-3 days. The more you show that you know when you're dealing with your subs and your contractors, the better it is for you. So always do your research. Anything you have a doubt with, YouTube University, or reach out to your network. So you have an idea of day labor is usually about $120 to $150. They normally don't have tools, transportation, and you got to include the food, take them the food. You got to go and pick them up and drop them off. So that's the bottom of the barrel, day labor. You're looking at $120 to $150 for usually 8 hours. You can maybe squeeze 9. A contractor with a crew of 2 is about $500 to $600 a day, and that's your contractor with his 2 assistants. He has his transportation, he's got the tools, he has knowledge. Usually can take on a bigger job. And then you have your GCs and your developers. In this case, we're not moving any walls, we're staying within the original footprint, so we don't need to pull a permit. It's a cosmetic flip, so there's no need for a GC. Usually a GC will charge you about $1,500 to go and get the permit, plus whatever the permit fee is. If the property is not under an LLC, it's under an individual, then you can go and pull any permits. If the property is under an LLC, you will need to get a GC to pull a permit. All right, here's a big one. No trade that's providing labor should get a deposit. You should be able to pay for all your materials via phone sale. You can do this at Sherwin-Williams, Home Depot, Lowe's. A lot of these supply houses, hardware stores, they have loyalty rewards programs. You want to take advantage of those. They're usually free. Sign up and get the points. You have an email, like for instance with Home Depot, any purchase that's done using your Pro X, you'll get an email of that invoice. So you can stay on top of these guys. It's very important that you review the invoice and make sure that the guys don't charge any tools. Usually most investors don't have a problem. The guys are getting tools if they let them know, and it's deducted from their pay. For example, this happens multiple times at the projects, and when we're doing a full rehab, doesn't have power, and my guys don't have a generator, they'll go out and my client will pay for $500, $600 for a generator, and my guys will keep the generator. It's deducted from their draw. Always make sure that they're not buying tools. If you see something small, $2, $5, and you're like, oh, it's small, whatever, I'm not gonna make a fuss about it. You want to bring it up, oh, did you get these tools, or what's this, I don't know, oh, and then no problem. But let them know that you're checking and you're on top of things. Don't let things slide, but that's how they test you. The only guys that usually are gonna ask for a deposit because they're supplying materials is your HVAC guy with the ductwork and the AC systems, your plumber, all the valves and the piping and PVC pipes and all that, and your electrician with the wiring and all the materials that he needs. So if they're not providing you with materials, there's no need for them to charge you. In this specific niche of the 1,500 square foot 3-2, no trade should take more than 7 to 10 days. So basically within a week, the house should be able to be painted in the interior. To do the exterior is also not going to take no more than a week. Any trade, tile, flooring in the inside, no more than a week, 7 to 10 days. Once you start getting experience, you'll start gauging the time frame of each trade. But for the most part, in this 1,500 square feet, you can say a week. Anybody taking any longer than that, you know something's up. They got multiple jobs, they're throwing yours in the back burner, something's up. If it's going more than 10 days. In regards to the pay and the draws, the best way to do it is job completed, job gets paid. You know, you either do it a check via mobile deposit, send a picture of the front and back of the check, or do a Zelle transfer. But job completed, job gets paid. As one of my investors said, pay for pics. So they send pictures, you see that it got done, you send the pay. As an investor, I would suggest you walk the property at least every other day. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and maybe a Saturday. Or you can do a Monday, a Wednesday, and a Friday, switch it up however you like. But I would try to go and make sure everything is getting done and nothing looks whack and nothing looks out of order. Best bet, every other day. The 3 common delays that you'll have on the project, a lot of say, oh, the contractor, the sub that didn't show up, causing delay. And for the most part, those guys will make it up. They'll work longer hours or they'll come in on the weekend. Never really had issues with them. When there's a delay on their part, it's basically something happened and you're gonna have to get another crew. That's just from my experience in these 10 years. So the biggest delays is gonna be weather, permitting and inspections, and delays with materials. So it's not really the subs. And weather, wintertime, the cold is the worst because the cold weather, you're gonna have to get heaters. The paint doesn't dry, it drips, and you gotta sand it just takes longer. The same with the mud, with the drywall. It's just horrible. In the summer, you get the rain, you have to deal with the rain and the heat pretty much. But winter, that cold weather, delays. So keep that in mind if you're doing a rehab in winter. You basically want to shop around for a project around November, acquire it in December, start rehabbing during spring, sell it in summer, start researching in fall, and repeat. When it comes to ordering and picking up materials, like I said, guys can do it via phone sale. Sherwin-Williams, I know if you're ordering more than 20 gallons of paint, they'll do free delivery. For large orders, I always tell my guys, you know, if you don't want to go and pick it up, a lot of crews work differently. You'll realize that some guys are pain in the butt when it comes to picking up materials, and some have no problem. They rather go and pick it up as they need it. So depending on who you're hiring. With the guys that are a pain in the butt and picking it up, I was like, if you don't want to go, just make a list of what you need, and I'll make sure I have it ordered, and you pick up small things or whatever you forget, it's on you, you go and pick it up. That is the best way. Because also if they tell you, oh, I need mud, I need this, and you make sure they give it to you specifically what they need, because a lot of these guys, they use different nail guns, they're used to using different screw sizes, or drywall. Just figure out what it is that they want specifically. So I usually, when it's a big rehab, I try to get the biggest order. Home Depot charges about $90 for delivery, so try to get as much on the big order, drywall and framing. But in this case, since we're doing a cosmetic flip, we don't really need to have anything really delivered. Everything can pretty much be picked up as you go. All right, so let's get down now to the rehab process. All right, the model that we're using for the process is a 3-2 1,500 square foot in need of an update. It's a cosmetic flip. So you took the initiative and you have everything from your post-rehab list checked off, ready to start. Very important. Always make sure you get an inspection. A home inspector goes down to the bones. A contractor is only going to base his estimate on the work that he's going to perform. So avoid surprises. Don't cheap out. It's about $350 to get an inspection. All right, day one is typically your trash out and demo day. The first thing that you're going to need to order once you close on the house and you're ready to start the rehab, you got your crews lined up, is your dumpster. Once you calculate your dumpster is about $500 to $600 for a 30 yard. So once you order your dumpster and you figure out the date that it's going to be on site, that's when you coordinate your crews. Note, you don't want, depending on the neighborhood, you don't want to have the dumpster empty in front of the house for too long, because people will come and dump their personal on it, and then that's on you to have it removed, and you're gonna have to order another dumpster. So always coordinate with you guys. Usually what I try to do is have my guys start, pile the stuff, coordinate with them in a way that we bring a dumpster and we just dump everything at one time. It all depends on the neighborhood that you're at. Other than the dumpster, the other thing that your guys are probably gonna need is your contractor garbage bags. Don't forget, when you're doing your trash out, check the attic and the crawl space. A lot of people store stuff on attic and crawl space. Also, a lot of people, you see it a lot on the HGTV programs, demo day, that the couple goes out there and they demo. If you've ever done demo, knocking cabinets, knocking wall, that ain't easy. Well, you see there that they're hitting that one hit, two hits, and they broke down the wall. It takes 4 or 5 hits depending on what you're hitting, but it's not as easy. It is tiring. Don't cheap out and try to do it yourself. Hire somebody. You want to be careful with the water pipes. You don't want to bust a pipe, and you don't want to get electrocuted with any circuit. Let the pros do it. It's a nice for a photo op. Do the hit, get your pictures, your videos, and let the pros handle it. Because that you see in the HGTV that they go out there, the couple busting in the walls and all that, that's pure Hollywood. It don't happen in the real world. If you don't believe me, go get a sledgehammer and go hit some kitchen cabinets and tell me how long it's going to take you to demo a kitchen. I guarantee it's not going to be an hour. After the demo stage, after the demo and the trash out, you should have a blank canvas of exactly what you're working with. This is the time when any surprises should have pop up, where you see any mold, drywall, subfloor issues, pests, insects, rot. You normally find the subfloor issues in the wet areas, which is usually under the kitchen sink, under the bathroom sinks, or around the toilet or the drainage of the tub or shower. Those are the areas. You're walking a house and you feel like a dip in those areas, you're most likely going to have some kind of a subfloor issue. There's probably the plywood got rotted out from the water. Not really a big deal. It can normally charge you anywhere from $800 to $1,500, depending on the size. Once the demo and trash out is done, you got your blank canvas. This is when any framing is to be done. If you're closing up a doorway, doing open concept, framing out a closet, the pantry, linen closet. Or insulation is only needed in exterior walls, in the attic, and sometimes on the crawl space in the bottom. Also, crawl spaces are going to need a vapor barrier. Basically, it's just like a tarp plastic that goes over the dirt in the bottom to keep the moisture down. Following the framing comes closing up the walls, which is a drywall and Durock. The Durock is used in the bathrooms and the wet areas, basically the surrounding walls. That's the common area where most time the Durock is used. Sometimes in the kitchen, sometimes you see it in the bathroom floors, but for the most part, it's just the surrounding walls. Rule of thumb when it comes to drywall, to see how many sheets you're gonna need, is divide the square footage by 10. So in this case, if the house is 1,500 square feet, divided by 10, and we're drywalling the whole house, you're looking at about 150 sheets. After your framing, closing up the walls, drywall, then you want to do your doors and trim. Doors and trim need to be done before paint. So after drywall, doors and trim, to prep for your paint, they do the painting. After the paint is done, you got your tile and flooring. Usually tile and flooring are done at the same time. The exterior face includes pressure washing, any repairs the house might need on siding, gutters, soffit, fascia. Then you have your paint, mailbox. The landscaping should be done towards the end to avoid any damaging. I've had this from experience. You try to get to the landscaping to make the house look more complete, more pop, more buzz going on, and it just gets ruined way towards the end. During the punch, I would say that would be the best time to do the landscaping. When there's no material being delivered, so most of the trash is gone, so there's no dumpster, so you don't have to worry about no vans, trucks, ruining any trees, any plants, and flowers. So keep that in mind when doing your landscaping. You want to do it towards the end. So once the tile is completed in the floor, that's when the fun begins. That's the punch phase, when you get to install your doorknobs, lights, faucets, ceiling fans, all the good stuff that's going to make the house pop. Your Wi-Fi thermostats. After the punch, you want to have your painter scheduled to come back and do his final touch-up. So usually before that, you want to mark it with blue tape. Go to Sherwin-Williams, get a roll of blue tape, and mark any issues, imperfections that you want your painter to address. So after the punch crews are done, he comes in, does his stuff, and then after him comes the cleaners. A little icing on the cake that I always do after the cleaning, after the final cleaning, I like to put one of those plug-in air fresheners, one in every room, one in the kitchen, one in the living room, and now we're doing the open concept, so there's really not a dining room, so I'll use 2 in the living room, dining room area. And if there's a hallway, I'll put 1 in the hallway. But this makes the house smell new, fresh, inviting, helps with that sale. After your punch phase, you want to schedule your final paint touch-ups. So always with your painters, there's always going to be touch-ups. I will always, once they're done, I'll walk it, I'll mark it with blue tape, and then I'll wait till the end before the cleaning, after the punch, for the painter to come and do his last final touch-up. I highly recommend staging. Set a budget aside for staging. I think staging is anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500 if I'm correct. But staging helps in several ways. One, it hides the imperfection of older houses in this price point of rehabs. And 2, when the house is staged, your prospect buyer, they start picturing their furniture, of how they're doing, so they're not really looking at the imperfections of the house if it's just an empty house. More things are going to pop out at them than if it's furnished or staged and they're using their imagination with their furniture, how they would have the house furnished. And my final tip is, don't cheap out on listing photos. Hire a professional photographer to take the pictures of the house. Don't use your iPhone. All right, so you made it this far. So let's go down the checklist again. So you already know what you got to do post-rehab. You got to acquire your property. Don't forget your inspection, how to source your crews, the process, how to run the rehab, how to list it, how to sell it, and just repeat the process. All right, so to conclude the video, if you made it this far, you now have the blueprint to tackle any cosmetic flip in the 1,500 square feet, 3-2. You already know what to do post-rehab to prepare yourself. You know the phases to the rehab and how to budget for it. You know how to save on interior designer and how to come up with your color scheme and finishes to stay up to date and deliver a product that's gonna sell. If you found this information helpful and useful, give us a like and subscribe for more info. Don't forget to click that notification bell to stay on top of our content. We'll be giving you more free, valuable content like this. If you go down on my playlist, Driving for Dollars, how to deal with subcontractors. Those that know me know that I don't lose, I always win. So if you win, I win. Your success is my success. Quick background on who I am. When I started Willpower over a decade ago, it wasn't to be a big contracting company. Like everybody else, I was watching HGTV, the flipping shows, and I saw that the contractors made and broke deals. So I said, well, if I start my own contracting company and I learn how to manage these crews, then I'll just use my crews for my flips. Win-win situation. So that's how Willpower came about. So basically, I got paid to learn. So here's my resume. I've helped countless of investors flip hundreds of houses throughout Atlanta in the past decade. I personally flipped 2 houses back in 2020 that both sold over asking, one 13 and the other one 10 over asking. I was limited to what I could do on the exterior since it was an HOA. I really couldn't give it my touch on the exterior curb appeal to make it pop. This was out in the Lawrenceville area. In 22, I had a mentorship program where a mentee and I went out and did some wholesaling. In a time frame of 4 months, we picked up, we closed on 5 deals, 70-30 split. 18-year-old kid made $15,000, 4 months. He's out doing great things, running his family's business, so much luck to him. Another success. A recent project that we just closed on out in Smyrna didn't even make it to market. An international buyer made an offer that my client accepted. So I made a name for myself as an honest, trustworthy contractor, and I want to teach you guys what I've learned in the last 10 years doing rehab flips. I don't just flip houses, I flip lifestyles. And last but not least, here's my sales pitch. If you have a more intense rehab, such as a full gut job, or you need to add an addition to add more square footage, and are in need of our services, we offer 3 programs. The silver, $500, gets you all the documents you need for any successful flip. The gold, $1,000, gets you the docs. You get direct access to me via text and FaceTime. And the platinum, $5,000, 10%. And that includes consultation, project managing, and I guarantee it's gonna save you money than if you were to go and hire a contractor that's gonna manage your project. These are the tips coming from a contractor to save you time and money. And not only am I gonna save you money, but I'm also gonna build your confidence to go on and tackle any rehab. It all comes down to how many guys and how long it's gonna take. It's not that complicated. Willpower. Don't hire help, build a team, build a dream.
It's all good, baby. It was all a dream.
Here's some bonus material. When dealing with your contractors or anybody on the project, you want to do it via text. Why text? You want to keep a record of everything that goes down with the project. And here's a big bonus. There's always going to be a contractor that's going to take any lowball budget that you give them. And this usually happens when he's been sitting around in between jobs, hasn't found the job, and he's gonna jump at the first thing that he gets. And then what happens, moving on, 1 week, 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks, everything's going smooth, but then as soon as he finds a project that pays him what he thinks he's worth, he's gonna throw yours on the back burner or he's gonna leave. You never want to be put in that position. The last thing you want is to have or another sub to come behind another sub. They're usually gonna cost you more money. So if you have to go, if you're having issues with your contractor and you're gonna go and get another one, just keep in mind it's gonna cost you money. Never think, oh, this guy did half of it, I'm gonna try to get another guy to, do it for whatever half of the budget that's left or maybe less. It's not gonna happen. Most of the time they're gonna charge more. So always try to work it out with your contractor and have the same contractor finish whatever task they're doing. And if you want more great tips like this, don't hire help, build a team, build a dream, willpower. One last thing, I want you to be very aware of contractors underbidding to get the jobs, because then they're gonna hit you up on the change orders. If something is too good to be true, it probably is. Because once they're in there, if they came out the lowest and they charge you $2,000 for a change order that normally would have been $500, $1,000, you're not gonna stop the project to get another estimate. So be aware. Don't jump on the first one just because it's the lowest bid. Same with the time frame. A lot of them will tell you what you want to hear. Say that it'll take less time than it normally will when they know that it's going to take longer. Once they're in there and they're working, there's nothing you can do. I know you found value in this video, and my whole goal is for you to have flipping success. Make that money. If you ain't flipping with willpower, you're just losing money.